Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it's Matty P, Marky D, live chat. Good to see ya. Sorry we're a little bit late. We're having a very funny laugh about something very, very funny. The difference between men versus women. But Marky D, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and I won't finish what I was going to say because I won't say it anymore. It's too PC. We'll stick to Steelers. Steelers talk. It's been you know what's funny, man? When's the last time we had a podcast? Was it Monday? Feels like a long time ago. It feels like a very long time.
It does.
It was Mad Monday, right? Now here we are for Saturday or Friday. I'm not too sure what really changed over the week, though. I know they had the OTAs. We might talk about that.
We brought in Marcus Golden, which I'd wanted to get a video out, but unfortunately I was traveling for work this week, so that made it a little bit difficult. So Marcus Golden's there. We can talk about him.
Another receiver too, but I don't think he's going to make the team at all.
Oh my God, don't miss that. Which receiver?
Nah, his name's like Charlie Crest or something like that.
Oh, okay, right. Not like a big. The latest news around rocking the NFL this morning is like the release of DeAndre Hopkins from the Cardinals. They just flat out released him. They didn't even trade him.
Is there? Look, I feel like because Omar Khan's been buying everyone, like it's like he's buying the whole monopoly.
I don't know why you would.
Is there a realistic possibility they would go and get D-Hop?
No.
I don't think so.
Unless you're trading Deontay or Allen Robinson doesn't work, I don't think so. Besides, D-Hop wants a championship, man. D-Hop's going to go to like
the Bills or something like that, or Chiefs.
Yeah, they talked about bringing him to the Bills. The Bills probably could use him, but I think they're styling their offense a bit differently. I'm trying to think who else is. He would be pretty good for the Eagles, actually.
Yeah, right.
Big target for Jalen Hurts.
But it's the same thing though. Every time the big name gets cut, Steelers. Everyone's like, "Well, go get him," you know. But I reckon the Cardinals are in trouble. Like they're a lose.
Well, Daniel Jeremiah said before the draft they were the worst team in the league roster wise.
Who are the most notable? The only most notable player I know is like maybe James Conner if they can run the ball.
Kyler Murray. But the problem with Kyler Murray is that like they've invested a lot of money in a guy that doesn't want to do the work. So you know,
too busy playing God.
Isn't Cardinals. Super live? I know this isn't super live, but what about the Belichick stuff? Well, are we talking about the fact that Kenny's car was stolen with the playbook?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, that might have been Belichick too. No, I think it was the OTA stuff. Yet again, the Patriots are cheating. They did something where they've cost themselves 2 days OTAs. I don't know exactly what they did, but the NFL came out and said Belichick and the Patriots have lost 2 days with the OTAs.
Like, you know what? It's
again.
They violated. Okay, $50K. What did they do?
Yeah, so it's
they just said violated team rules. What does that mean?
No idea, but like
here we go. Centers around meetings serving on-field infractions. NFL Players Association filed a complaint against New England on May 4th, alleging the team violated Article 21, Section 5B of the CBA. Under that, players can be at the facility for no more than 4 hours per day. The complaint specified that there were workshops that weren't on the official schedule for the 4-hour workday that was sent to players on May 1, 2, and 4. The Patriots repeatedly told the league the meeting and workshops were not mandatory and no attendance was taken. Meanwhile, Pro Football Talk reports that the violation was in regards to a 15-minute special teams meeting. The NFL Players Association believes one of the optional early off-season meetings was a violation because it was made visible on the internal schedule. By placing it on the formal schedule, that was deemed to fall under the mandatory category instead of it being an optional in the eyes of the NFLPA. I don't mean to be... I'm a big believer in players' rights, and I think a lot of things are very unfairly tilted toward the players. But grow up. I mean, on this one, like if you get caught into a 15-minute meeting, like they got paid. I don't know.
You know what I just realized? Matty, if I was a teacher and you were one of my students, I would be choosing you first every time to read out the first paragraph or chapter of any book. Like I wouldn't be going, because you've got really good reading skills, mate. Like I have no idea what you said, but it sounded great. You know what I mean?
Geez.
So I'd be like, young Johnny at the back, like me. I'm like, nah, he's a loser. I'd be like, Matty, you want to read this? No,
I used to get. Did you have dictation? Do you have dictation like year 4, 5, and 6 or whatever? You know where? Did you have that? You know where they'd read something out and you had to write it, and they would test your spelling and your grammar.
I guess so.
I went to 3 different public schools, 3 different primary schools, so K to 6. And yeah, we did it all of them. Anyway, I used to get like top marks in that when the teacher read it out.
I was the bloke in the schools that I was like just more fascinated about watching birds outside than I was actually in the classroom. I was like in like where am I kind of
My
style,
favorite was like every sort of once an hour, I need to go get a drink, man. Like I need to go to the bubbler, or the water fountain for everyone else. And you go off.
There was one
That
time
was consistent, man. That was like I remember doing it in kindergarten, and I remember doing it in year 12, man. Like it was the whole way through.
Me and a mate, we once tried to wag school when you walk out of school, right? We caught a teacher doing the same thing coming back in. He goes, "Where you boys going?" We're like, "Where have you been?" And he went, he went touche, and he let us go.
So we had in my high school, we had a morning like attendance roll, and we had an afternoon attendance roll after lunch, right? And I was in year 10, and my dad went to the school I went to, and so there were teachers there that had been there since my dad was at the school. My dad was a serial, like what we call wagger here, or like he'd skip out on school, right? I missed one afternoon
What do Americans
roll.
call that? What do Americans call
I'm trying to think of it.
You wag.
Not truant. There's another word they use.
You said skip school, right?
Yeah. There is a word they use on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, my dad used to do it all the time. He used to get into trouble for it. And so I missed this afternoon roll. I kid you not. It had been and I only missed it. I was sitting in the classroom. Like I didn't hear my name called, so I didn't, put my hand up, right? I was talking to my mate kind of thing. Must have missed it. Man, there were teachers walking around, whatever. Anyway, I happened to go to the toilet about 5-10 minutes later, and I saw teachers running around. And they're like, "There you are. Where you been?" I'm like, "In maths? Like, what do you mean?" And they go, "Well, you didn't hit attendance on the roll. How do we know you're in maths?" I'm like, "Well, I can walk you up there, and all my school books are there." So like, I'm like, my exercise book's open. They're like, "Well, why didn't you just say yes to the roll?" I'm like, "I didn't hear my name called." Anyway, there's people have been wasting 20 minutes of their time. Anyway, it's probably a waste.
Wasn't school an amazing time? Because I had stuff like that too. I had like where a teacher would tell me to run an errand, and I forgot the errand midway, and then I just made an errand up when I got to the other teacher. Did you ever do that?
With what? You made a what up?
I made a job up when I went to the next teacher. So the first teacher told me something to tell a teacher, so I ran that errand like in my mind.
Oh
then Then I forgot what she said, so I just made something up. And when I got to the new teacher, I made something up and said, "Mrs. I don't know, whatever." I was gonna say this. I was gonna say, because I looked around the room, I was gonna say Mrs. Pump, but that doesn't make any sense. So when I got to the next teacher, I just made something up. Oh boy,
that's hilarious. What's this?
You can tell it's the off season.
Live chat's like paddling students. We're talking about getting swatted for putting a sticker on. Oh, wow. Okay.
Holy dude.
Crazy.
What else did you find interesting in this week with the OTAs and stuff like that?
There's a lot of interviews. Everyone's getting hyped about every interview they have with a player.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's raving about Kenny Pickett, which is, I don't think, any surprise. I think one of the other things that I liked was what Patrick Peterson said. He's in the thumbnail, obviously, for this vid. And some of the mature comments he made. You know what I loved the most about Patrick P's comments? I think it was on the first day of OTAs. He said, "This is Minka, Cam, TJ's team. I'm just here to help us mature and to provide leadership for the cornerbacks in the secondary." He's not trying to take someone's role. Nope. He's not trying to do that. I loved Cam's interview as well. Cam sort of backed that. I'll go back to Peterson. I love that because he's not trying to take anyone's, veteran leadership, but he is trying to be a veteran and help them. He's like, "Look, I want to win. I've got, this. I've only got a few years left. If that, basically, like, let's get it right." I love that part. I love what he talked about, things being more developed than he thought about. That was awesome. And then you heard Cam, and Cam was talking about, never taking anything for granted. I don't think he's in his last year or anything like it, but just talking about where they need to improve. And then the other one that I actually listened to this morning, I've been listening to him the last couple of days when I can, is Landon Roberts. Landon Roberts really impressed me with his interview. But the thing that impressed me the most is he talked about getting the ball back for the offense, right? Now, most people go, "Well, that's the job of the defense." People talk about it. But it was the way in which he said it, and I kind of thought, this team's always skewed toward the defense and like the offense trying to not make the job too difficult for the defense. It's the first time in a while I'd heard someone say, our job is to give the offense the ball to score points, right? And people, someone in a live chat or someone listening back to this can pull up something and say, Matt's, XYZ player said it, in the last week of the season. People said this, people said that. But it was just the tone and the way he did it and the what you're hearing out of the overall Steelers team. And it's like, for all of us that have massive questions on Matt Canada, didn't like the offense last year or felt that it underperformed, there's a bit of hype to it, and it's kind of cool. Like the Steelers, those players are no idiots. They wouldn't say something that they don't truly believe, and a lot of them have all got NFL experience. The fact they're this high on the offense, pumping me up, man.
I'm actually more. This is crazy because I'm a defense guy, and you guys all know that. I'm actually more excited this year for the offense than I am defense, and that's like a first in a very long time. Do you know what I mean? Because we have the new offensive line, the running backs. Did you see Najee and Warren? I've got a bit of a man crush on Warren, actually. I think he's fantastic.
I've got Warren's interview. I think that's next on the playlist.
Yeah, just him running the ball, mate. Just them doing the drills. I'm like, them running through actual people. They're going to run over someone. Like they're going to have to, But everyone's playing. Everyone's looking the part so far. I think.
Did you watch Sam Arlo's interview?
I did bits of it, but I can't really remember. I just know he's a very humble guy. He looks like
he was talking. And he had a lot of respect for Kelsey. He had a lot of respect for Mason.
That's
Cole. Right. But it was a bit weird, and maybe it's just because it is the first OTAs. I don't know. I kind of, not to look for a negative, but I kind of felt he was a little bit sad not to be still with the Eagles.
Maybe
he had a little bit of a somber tone to it, but I mean, they lost the Super Bowl. He'd been there since he was drafted, all those things. And he hasn't played. Once he's played in front of the Steelers crowd, I mean, it's a whole different ball game, right?
When he goes home and counts his Benjamins, though, is he really that sad?
Yeah, exactly right.
He's like, I hate being here. I don't know. I got from him that was more or less like just a humble guy, like a patient, quiet guy, and then on the field is going to be a bit fiery. So. Maybe he'll kind of warm up. Remember how James Daniels last year said that too? He said he was going to work his way.
Yeah, and congratulations to James Daniels.
Yeah.
Did he get married this week? I mean, I saw the Steelers put out a photo. I'm assuming he got married.
Married this week. But last year he said, I think he said a comment similar to that he was working his way into the Steelers offense or something like that, or he gets better as the year goes on. Who said that? Maybe that was Devin Bush? I don't know who said that. I don't know. I think Daniels was pretty similar though, because. Obviously now Mason Cole's got 1 year left and Daniel's got 1 year left too. So will they re-sign those blokes or do they go back to the draft? But I know what you mean. It's a new guy coming in. I think Peterson handled it fantastically, saying, well, I'm here. I think Peterson wants to win.
So did Allen Robinson. Did you see Allen Robinson's interview? That was a good one.
Yeah, it was good too. Yeah. I think Peterson wants to win a championship though, like in the way things are set up.
Yeah, so. I think a lot of people obviously every team wants to and every player wants to, but
the Browns don't. They don't want to win one.
I'm hearing championship a lot more this time of year than I've heard it this time of year in a long time.
I know, all 32 have a chance, right?
No, but I mean, I'm hearing it more out of Steelers players individually than I've heard it in a while. That tells you something.
Yeah, and everyone should be hopefully healthy too going into the week, because really last year TJ Watt going down, maybe they weren't going to win it last year, but TJ Watt going down really sucked. Kazi went down too. So if you have those players back for the first few weeks and have the depth now we have, then there could be a possibility with a young Kenny Pickett, this team could go. They go as far as they want to take themselves, basically.
Yeah, 100%. I back that completely. I also thought it was interesting some of the discussion around Conor Hayward. The Athletic did an article on Conor Hayward talking about his role. And I think they pretty much have put him in a fullback TE role, which is how long have I been saying that for? I mean, and every depth chart we've done that's exactly what I've said. So I was kind of felt a bit vindicated by that.
I've heard ideas where Conor Hayward's going to play maybe third running back too. Would you see that?
Yeah, I just think he's going to be Swiss Army knife. It's just what he's listed as. But do you remember we had that original fullback tight end on our depth chart where I literally had him listed like that? That's exactly.
So does that mean the Steelers will have a fullback in like a traditional fullback in 2023? Or they just going to go?
They will on the practice squad that they bring up for certain games, and that'll be Monty Potterbaum.
Right, because they're going to sign Derek. What are they? Because it does look like they're going to go with 4 tight ends and use Conor Hayward as that.
But they can, because I mean Darnell Washington. People sit and go, "Oh, he's a massive fullback," but there's certain sets you can line him up at fullback. I mean,
Yeah,
imagine him coming down.
think-
Imagine him coming down the middle. Like,
I think as well, you make a good point. I think as well that with this offense and even last year, I think I look at the stats and I was like, I think what did 60 snaps overall in 2023, right?
yeah,
And what didn't happen that much. So maybe you don't need that traditional fullback there, but someone's going to play that role in certain pieces, because I'm keen to see. I think all 4 tight ends make it. I think they all make it. Gentry, Washington, Muth, Conor Hayward plays different positions. And then you maybe have McFarlane as well, or someone like that third. But I'm keen to see Najee and Warren, man. I think they're going to rip it up. I really do. I said the other day, and I know what you think because I know it's crazy, but I've got a prediction that Warren's going to get 1,000 yards rushing.
1,000? How many Najees? How many is Najee getting?
1,000 too. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Like 1,200 or 1,400. Because I just like the way. Well, it's one of those ones, right? If I put it out there and if I'm right, I'm a super genius, like Mark Matty. So, is that what he calls himself? I don't know. Anyways,
I don't listen to that loser.
If I get that right, 1,000 yards for Warren, and we are definitely going to the Super Bowl. That is happening.
So, I wanted to...
mate.
Pardon?
Was that sirens in the background?
Yeah, this isn't an ambulance.
Oh, here's a question. Maybe America might have seen this too. Were you near that big fire the other day?
Pardon?
You're not near that, are you? Yeah, you're not near that, are you? That big fire.
Nah, but I mean, I used to travel through exactly where that was. I know that building. They caught 2 kids running out of that building too.
Really? 2 kids that are on fire?
Yeah, there's a bunch of teenagers running out. Apparently, I don't know. I feel like there might have been a bit of drugs going on and a bit of a mistake. I don't know. It's all a bit weird because it was meant to be turned into a hotel. Like, it's all a bit. Anyway, basically, for everyone listening live, there's a big fire in Sydney of a building that shut down like our CBD because it was like right near an arterial road. Well, I mean, where all the roads out of the city to one way go, and it was right near like our biggest train station and transport hub in Sydney, and it was wild, and they had like 20 fire crews there, and they couldn't contain it, and it kept burning for like over a day.
That's crazy.
It's nuts. Yeah. But yeah, back to Marcus Golden. I think we should cover him off. What were your thoughts on him?
I think, like, to be realistic, I think what he got 11 sacks in 2021, 4 sacks last year. I think he's just a bloke.
Nice one, Jeff.
I think he's just a bloke that can come in and be when TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith goes out, just a guy to come in and hopefully provide some good force and depth and not be like Ingram or don't be like Malik Reed.
This is, you hit exactly what I was going to say when you were going to return the question to me. It's like, I hope this is Mark Ingram, but this is a volunteer, not a hostage.
Yeah,
right?
But better.
Like 47 sacks in his career, 62 TFLs, 130 quarterback hits, 11 forced fumbles, 73 quarterback knockdowns. Like, that's helpful.
Even Malik Reed had a good, I think he had the most sacks or something with Denver in like 1 year and then did nothing with the Steelers. Like nothing. Like it was,
Marcus Golden's been a bit more consistent. So,
but
I'm not sitting here going, oh no, Alex Highsmith's going to lose his job, and oh no, they're not going to be signing him on. This to me is like, you want him to be a happy Ingram and like Ogunjobi, right? Where he's signed on a fairly cheap deal this year, likes it. You bump it up a little bit next year to be the third guy. Perfect. Hey, Mason, in the house.
Number 2, mate. You're number 3 now, mate. You've moved down.
You're back.
It's only a 1-year deal, so there's nothing wrong with it. He's not taking Highsmith's job. They will probably extend Highsmith and TJ together. They're going to play together for 4 years, hopefully, something like that. 1-year deal, and then you address the situation next year again. It's like, if you're against this move, I don't understand you. There's nothing wrong with it.
But you think about it, like Golden, Peterson, Robinson, like,
they've all,
you know what I mean? Like, when you talk about this championship stuff, like, this is definitely a win now team, right? The people.
Well, they've all played together too, because I think Golden played with Peterson in the Cardinals. I think
that's a good point. Nice point.
You know what? It wasn't my point. It was Jen. I can't remember her last name. Jen, who comes on the show from Wisconsin. She always is with the news, man.
Who?
Jen. I can't remember her last name. She's from Wisconsin. Jennifer. I don't remember. It's her
Oh,
last name
on our live chat, Jennifer
yeah.
Pursuer? Is that?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. That one. That's her. She said to me in a comment that Peterson's bringing guys in from his old teammates, and he is Sullivan. Only two. Sullivan and this bloke.
Well, Armand Watts played there too.
There you go.
They,
So maybe they're coming over because Peterson's like, okay, if Peterson's there, there's a good like people come over, people sign for different clubs because other players are there. So I like it. I think they've played together.
Well, Herbie and Siamalo came over together. I mean, obviously there's the Andy Weidel connection, but
yeah, and also I guess Kazi and Neil, they've played together too before. They played together in the Cowboys.
You know what? We should do this. We should on next week's show.
A new show.
No. On next week's show, we'll go away, everyone, and we're gonna go find
the connections.
Mark and I'll figure out a way to carve it up, and we're gonna find all the interconnected relationships on the Steelers.
Oh,
like who's played with who here,
and like a crime scene, like in this guy.
Yeah, and we're gonna map it all out. Yeah,
that'd be really cool because there's
probably
quite a few.
Do that on some slides, actually.
I wonder who Minka's put it. I wonder if Minka played with Roberts
on the Dolphins. I think Roberts came in a little bit after.
Oh, that's an intriguing one.
Roberts. Everyone look when I remember I said we talked about a couple of shows ago on the Draft Dudes did a Steelers podcast, Steelers focused podcast on Kenny Pickett and how he was set up to win or not. And one of them, Kyle Krabs, is a Miami fan. He's the locked on guy for Miami. And he was saying that like Landon Roberts makes sense if you had Brian Flores, but given Brian Flores left, how much of the Steelers going to use the Brian Flores mentality? If they are, Landon Roberts makes sense. If they're not, then that was a weird move.
No, he missed it. Yeah, you're right. He came over in 2020. He missed it. The Roberts and the Minka connection. Yeah, my bad.
That's good trivia from my perspective. It's not Steelers.
Yeah, but that's an interesting concept because there's quite a few guys who know each other and probably have been around. I even saw was it Patrick Peterson talked about Grady Brown, the coach, that they had a connection.
Yeah, that was it. Good pick up. So Grady Brown was his coach at LSU. I think Grady Brown's like they're gonna have to make a decision in a few years' time between him and Austin, and I don't think you want to lose Grady Brown. I like him, man.
But what is
it? Grady Brown? Is that his last name?
Yeah, Grady Brown. Yeah, the secondary guy.
I thought it started with a J.
Well, imagine going all the way back then to college when that's still that connection. So it's George says Steelers have an awesome car. Defensive players, they do.
Oh, it's yeah. Well, if anyone missed if anyone missed my
bloody Rudolph. I got my thong stolen once at the front of my house.
If anyone missed our show on Mad Monday, you can check out a snippet of that. Mark, I went to do the clipping of it, but like we kept going. But Shannon Sullivan is the slot corner, right? And if you don't believe that, 85.3% of his snaps last year were at slot.
I keep seeing YouTubers and other people out there saying
just comments like not untrue, false, lies.
But they keep saying it's the weakest area, but I'm like, since looking at the stats and what you were being saying, it's like he's the guy. And he played with Peterson next to him. So good to see.
I think Peterson will play there a little bit as well in certain sets. But also they've got the three safeties going with Neil, Kazi, and Fitzpatrick. Like,
I wonder also what the average age.
I think Steelers Depot. Just because everyone loved when we called out other people the other day, I think Steelers Depot might have been them that had an article talking about the same thing. It's like, oh, is that at the weak position? Who have they got?
Also, I talked about this too the other day on my show, Still Oz. I think you have to have a weak position though. How can you have a strong team all over the board?
Well, I think the weak position is middle linebacker.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. And I'm still thinking like if it is the weakest one, fine. You've got TJ Watt and Highsmith. You can't win all battles. Well, I still can't wait to see the actual games. Though. I want to see the games when they're playing, and you know what I mean.
Plus, people forget about Neil, man. Like Neil has played a bit of linebacker.
Well, he's been in the Super Bowl too, has he not?
He was with them when the Falcons. I'm pretty sure he was with them when the Falcons lost.
I wonder how many players we have that's been in Super Bowls because maybe 2 or 3. Because
that's actually something you can pull up fairly quickly on Pro Football Reference if this.
Siamalo was there last year. I think Neil with the Bucks. Didn't he win one with the Bucks?
Ooh. You're right, actually. He
Yeah,
might
he,
have.
I think he won one or two with one with the Bucks. I'm pretty sure. So that means a lot coming into the defense. That means a ton for the players, you know. It also means that like a lot of veteran guys like that.
Okay, how am I gonna?
I'm pretty sure that's right. Now I'm getting more excited for the defense. It's changed.
We can pull that up. Let's look into that on Mad Monday, maybe.
All right.
I think we can look into that on Mad Monday.
We'll look into that. We'll look
Everyone
into
can watch that.
in the connections too. We'll try and find the connections between players.
We might need a bit of time on the connections though, because the connections might take like we're gonna have to.
Oh, you're doing a deep
we're gonna have to
dive.
split the roster and like work out. I swear.
Far out.
Yeah.
Can you hear the bin outside? It's so noisy around here.
Maybe we split it. Maybe we go offense and defense for the connections. I like the connections though. This is a cool topic.
Well, there's brother ones. There's teams.
No, we all know the brother ones. The brother ones are like good stuff. How about the live chat? Any Q&A from you guys? Because it's been a while since we did some Q&A.
We're out of ideas. That's it. That's all we have today.
That's what I'm saying. I got another question for you. So it's fine. Don't stress out. What did you think of Trubisky's comments?
I liked it. I'm Team Trubisky. Let's go. That's the way it should have been, I think, maybe last year. Like last year was kind of crazy because we didn't know who QB1 was.
Well,
and there was competition everywhere.
Who QB1 was, I think,
Well, I actually wanted to be, honestly, to give Rudolph a shot to be one and then go through the process.
But I felt Kenny Pickett was the one. I didn't think it would get past week 10 without Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, it didn't. Right, it was going to go progression. Yeah. But back to his comments this year, it's fine. It's a good comment. He's going to be supporting role to Kenny Pickett. And anyone out there, talking to you, Chat Sports, anyone out there that brings up quarterback competition.
No, call them out. Call out Chat Sports properly.
Well, they should throw their journalism degree or their YouTube channel in the bin. There is no way that this year in 2023 there's any quarterback competition. It's Kenny Pickett with the ones. If any competition, it's Kenny Pickett versus Kenny Pickett.
If you see anything on YouTube, anyone who has QB competition for the Steelers,
none.
It's clickbait. Don't watch it.
It's Kenny Pickett versus Kenny Pickett. That's his only competition is him getting better and trying to improve. There is no 1-on-1 scenario. If Kenny struggles the first game, we're not calling for Trubisky. We're riding with Kenny as long as we can and as long as the coaches do. That's what we're doing.
What did you see Arthur Motes and Deke talking about Dan Moore going to right tackle?
I did a little bit, but you know what? I'm still okay.
I thought it was a bit ridiculous.
I'm still
straight. Like he can shift inside before he shifts to right tackle. I think that's oversimplifying.
I'm still okay, honestly, with him starting at left tackle. Honestly, I am. I like the way that they're exactly right. Trey Kenny Pickett.
Do you remember chat? Do you remember like you used to use chat to describe something that's like disgusting? Did you use
I hate that word. No, I never did. I hated it.
That's a disgusting channel.
Yeah.
You never said like, oh, that person's chat.
I just don't like it. I never said. I said other words. I said other words that were more.
I know what other word you don't like. You know what, live chat. Do you remember what the other word Mark hates? We talked about it. I think it was the last off season.
Do I remember? What word's that?
Lit.
Oh, I can't stand lit. You know what? I can't stand right now. I can't stand mid. I think mid's stupid. Mid means average. That guy's mid. Can't handle it. I'm over it. I think it's stupid. Look at your face.
That's like who's saying that?
The new kids, man. The new kids saying mid. I can't. You know what else I can't stand? The Zoom rumors, whatever they're called. I can't stand the gritty. I really can't. If you're a receiver,
I'm not down with that, man.
Make up your own damn dance. Why you got to copy one person's dance? Why we got to see every gritty? Why we got to see every touching got to be a gritty? Can we do something else, please? I forgot what I was saying. Honestly, I don't know what the question was. I really forgot. Was it about Trubisky? Oh yeah, no. QB comp, all right? QB comp, right? It's not going to happen. It's just not. There is no quarterback competition this year.
There's no competition.
None. If you see it, just tell them to burn their channel. Tell him to kick rocks.
No, I'd get in on the live chat and tell them all the comments if it's not a live video and say, come subscribe on Steelers Touchdown Under. Come talk to people that know what they're talking about.
Because it's going to happen. I reckon it's going to happen in training camp this year. I think they're going to say, "Will Kenny Pickett be number one? Will Trubisky?" It's like they buy the whole offense is building around Kenny Pickett. That's what it is. That's the guy. He's the dude. It doesn't matter. If
Are you surprised Mason came back? Mason, you can tell us in the live chat. Tell us in the live chat why he came back, Mason.
A little bit, but at the same time, I think he's going to understand his role too. You know what the funny thing is about Mason now? He's got to wear his uniform every time. Before he didn't have to. Now he has to wear his uniform every game because of the QB3 emergency rule, right?
Oh yeah,
he has to wear it. So last year he was in street
you're
clothes
right.
chilling, and now he's going to wear.
Yeah, good shout.
Now he's going to wear a uniform every freaking time. That would suck because you wouldn't even need to play. You're not playing. You're going to be in uniform, uncomfortable. Like for 17 games, he has to wear it.
Because he could have his.
No, I think he has to be in the whole uniform because he's a emergency quarterback, right? I'm pretty sure. But last year when it was quarterback 3 and he wasn't on the roster, he couldn't play. He was just wearing his just his normal street clothes because he was never activated.
So the NFL 2 days ago approved a new rule that will allow teams to have an emergency third quarterback on game days. The emergency QB can be inactive and not count against the game day roster, but still dressed to possibly play if the team's game day QB suffers injury. But
so he has to dress every time and not play.
Yeah, but he doesn't have his pads on that very second with his helmet on.
You don't reckon you want to have all the pads on though? You want to have everything on?
Yeah, like you can just have it. You can usually put a jersey on with you. Well, maybe not. Maybe he does.
I reckon he'll be suited. I reckon he'll be suited to play. Maybe not helmet, but have everything else on. So he's got to do that 17 games in a row, and hopefully we never see him ever, because he can't play. He can't play. He can't play if performance wise.
Yeah.
Right, performance-wise, Kenny and Mitch aren't playing good.
Because I was like, it'd be cool if they had certain Mason sets, which I do think that they could have, especially with the big tight ends, and switch him and Trubisky up that way. But it's not like that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So if Kenny and
Lucky D with the segment of the show,
if Kenny and Mitch, right? If they're like they throw 5 interceptions each, and he can't come in. You have to play the other guys until they get hurt.
How many teams do you reckon are going to try and take advantage? Like this is something Belichick would definitely take advantage of.
Mate, there are going to be tons of this stuff happening. This is why I'm not really like a big fan of the rule.
Yeah,
like you're telling me that one team's going to be winning by 40 points or something, and they don't want to play.
They did a similar rule in rugby a few years back around props that are at the front of the scrum, because if the prop went down, you'd have these uncontested scrums, which look really bad at a professional level. So they brought him in, and like, especially as well, like with red cards, like where you get sent off because it's like being ejected, but you can get sent off for multiple penalties. They don't just have to be like what you think about as a professional foul. Like that, but they brought this in. Long story short, they brought this in, and then what they decided to do was, because you only had 7 players on the bench, right? And in rugby, when you make a sub, that's it for the rest of the game, unless there's unless with these prop forwards, there's a concussion. So they brought in these extra guys and these props, and like you just seen teams manipulate it, man. Like they just change the way their forwards or their O line and D line literally play, and like, yeah.
Well, do you think there's going to be there's a gray area here, right? Because
it's like Peyton Manning. Do you remember what Peyton Manning? Actually, say a question, then I'll say to Peyton Manning.
Well, do you remember? Or like so to me, there's going to be like a gray area, right? With this, like, how can they consider someone being hurt or whatnot, right? So obviously, you're going to have two quarterbacks who start, and if some teams still might use 3 active, but why would you use 3 active? There's no point.
So so the third quarterback is not counted, and the 46-man active game day roster may only play if the other 2 quarterbacks are unable to play at some point during the game due to injury or disqualification. If once the third quarterback is in the game, one of the first 2 is cleared to return to the game, the emergency quarterback must come out and is not able to play unless there is an injury or disqualification. Okay. The thing to me though is like, if let's say you have a guy does his ACL, right? And then another guy does something. Let's say he takes his helmet off and whacks another player with his helmet, right? He gets ejected, right? That'd be a pretty wild game.
Happened. That happened against Rudolph.
Yeah, exactly. Right? They'll say that happens
Again.
when you bring the third guy out. Like, I can understand that situation, but other situations, it's kind of like suck crap. Like, it kind of like when the Patriots had to play Edelman at quarterback, right? Tough shit. But the only thing is, if you have a player where remember the Steelers, we had that where, we had to run the Wildcat. Remember this a couple of years ago where we had the two guys go down in the same game, or there was concussion or whatever, and like we had to run the Wildcat to close it out, and like it puts the person behind there who's not the quarterback at an injury, and that's why I can see they're doing this. Like, I don't know.
You know what's
I kind of like this. I can't do it, but I'll just say it could be manipulated. Remember when Peyton Manning said they did the concussion test and they asked them the 20 or 30 questions at the start of the season, and then they ask you those questions if you get a concussion to test your memory. So he'd purposely do worse with those questions before the season started, so that if he got a concussion, he could just like, let's say he got like, he'd fake getting, let's say, like 23 out of 30 right, at the start of the year. And then, so if he got concussed, if he got like 17 or 18 right, they'd be like, oh, that's within the realms of, he's probably not concussed. But he was like, I probably was.
I'm not saying it's a bad rule, but I find the NFL. So the game last year was the 49ers, right? So one game like that, once in a blue moon, and they change a rule. That's why I kind of have a bit of a problem with it. Like, it's like, why? It's very rare it's going to happen again.
But it's good for the product of the NFL.
Oh, exactly. But I still.
Do you know why also it's probably happening? A lot of teams are carrying 2 QBs on the roster, like on the active roster. That's the other thing. Whereas this kind of this helps
get 3.
Yeah.
You have to have 3 now, pretty much. You need a. Well, some teams do activate 3 QBs, and now they won't have to. But in terms of like,
that's why Mason could be on the practice squad.
Can he be on the practice squad and be active?
I don't know under this rule how it works with the practice squad, because under this rule, we'll have 46 players active and can have a third quarterback designated who's eligible. So that would say someone.
Oh.
Under the new rule, if a team has 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, all 3 can be available. Quarterbacks on the practice squad and elevated to be eligible player, not eligible to be the designated. Oh.
So are they allowed to be on the squad or not?
No, so the emergency quarterback can only be someone that's on the 53-man roster.
Right.
The third quarterback not counting against the 40 only play third. Yeah, so if you're on the practice squad, you can be elevated, but you're not eligible to be the designated emergency quarterback. So you can't basically stash a third quarterback on the practice squad.
Right.
With the sole purpose of being.
It's still kind of funny though, because
so this forces teams to carry. This is dumb. They should have just given teams an extra roster spot. This is stupid.
Exactly.
And they have already done that. They should already give teams 55 roster spots anyway, I feel, with a 17-game season. That's a dumb way of
You know what's really funny about this? So he can't be on the practice squad, right? He's not technically on the 53, so he's really in his own spot, which is just the emergency guy. That's it.
No, he's on the 53.
But but on game day, he's not counted.
No, so he's not part of the 51 on game day, you mean?
Oh, no, so isn't it like 47 or whatever?
No, 46, yeah.
Oh, so he's counted as the he's
on the 53.
Oh,
right?
so then
but he's not part of the 46 that get the helmet.
So he's all automatic inactive every time. Every week
he's going to designate him as the emergency QB.
Fuck. So he's inactive, but then he's still a QB. I get it. I get it, but I don't get it. So he's part of 53. Then when they cut those 7 names off, he's part of that, but he can't play. He only plays if he gets 2 go down. But then you're right. Why not just add another?
This is so stupid, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. At least in rugby, when they added the extra substitution spot on game day, because it used to be that 22 players on a rugby union field, right? 15 guys on the field at one time, and you had 7 subs. Now you have 8 subs because you have to carry at least 1 extra, and the extra spot is to carry 2 props.
You know what's so dumb about that?
Forwards.
You could then
which is like having your 2 guards and your center. Basically.
If you just added a spot and didn't do the QB3 thing, you could play him. You can play him whenever.
Correct.
Like, you just oh my goodness, that's so silly.
They've made it so complicated. The only thing that it's good is that they've saved teams from just using this on a practice squad bloke and getting around the practice squad elevations. But like, I don't know. Maybe you and I are missing something here, but like,
No, I understand it. I think if they did make it the 50...
Okay, so one current stipulation as well, which I knew about, but I just a reminder for other people, is you have to have 8 offensive linemen active on game day.
Yeah, right. Didn't know that. Okay. That makes sense. Well, 5 and 3 backup.
So that means the Steelers are at least carrying 9 offensive linemen. So that we should remember that when we go back and do the depth chart.
So basically they got the QB3 as emergency guy. He's not counted. He's inactive, but then he only active if he comes into the game, which is like once in a blue moon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the new kickoff rule. Let's quickly cover that off as well.
You go first because I think it's ridiculous. I think
you can go. I was just going to go through the.
I just think honestly, I talked about it before on Steel Oz, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think the kickoff game now, the return game is almost.
Well, they
dead.
do want to eliminate the concussions. That's the thing.
But it's gone, man. Because if you're catching the ball at the 2-yard line, you move up to the 25-yard line. So there's no real incentive to return the ball back. Now the funny thing is, if it bounces into the end zone, it's a touchback. If you catch it in the end zone, touchback. So pretty much everywhere from 25 yards down is touchback.
I hate
catch it or bounce in.
You know why I hate it? I don't care. I did this in Madden, right, as well. I don't care if you run it, and this is going to sound ridiculous when I say doing Madden. I don't care if you go 5 yards, right? I know people sit there and go, no, you want to go maximum yardage. My thing is a mentality thing. If you catch the ball, you run straight, right? The end zone is not sideways or whatever. You just run damn straight. Now, obviously, you want to run around guys and return it, right? But I'm not into this. You don't play the game to only go 25 yards. It's pointless. I don't know why this is a dumb rule.
It comes from college. It's for a 1-year trial, and I think it's going to stick around because they'll
I actually think in college it makes more sense. I think in college it makes more sense.
Well, I reckon if they're going to do it here, you're going to see that kickoff is now pointless, like pretty much pointless.
Yeah, why don't they just start the team on the 25-yard line?
Well, that's what I think the NFL wants us to think, right? They want us to think that.
You know what? Why don't you start them on the 15? I'd rather them say no more kickoffs. You're starting on the 15, like you're under pressure, like from the get-go, right?
That I would too. Yeah, that was if you're going to get rid of the kickoff, make sure you go back a bit further.
Correct.
You know. But now, look, so if it goes in the end zone, it's done. If they catch it in the end zone, it's done. If they catch at the 19 or whatever, it's done. So we might see maybe a few more drops or not like fake, like fair catch. I think this rule is something's going to step up this year.
But it's basically just giving yourself a fair catch, really. Yeah,
if they do, they go straight to 25. So I don't know if.
What year did they change that? Remember when it was the 20-yard line? Was it 20?
They also moved it up too. I think
that's what I'm saying. When was
it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I think they moved the kick-ups.
Yeah, I was thinking it was 2016.
Yeah, I think they moved it from the 2025 or something like that. And the kickoff now is kicked off from the 40, not the 35 or something. So, next 5 years, it also cuts jobs too. No job, like all the gunners, all the guys running on the kickoff. We won't see many.
Well, there's Miles Boykin. Miles Boykin's not going to be there.
Well, will he be on the punt return though? Because they're not messing around with punts yet. You know.
Well, but hang on a minute. If you're doing this for kickoffs, why wouldn't you do it for punts?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because it always starts, you give an inch, you take a mile, or whatever the saying is, right? I butchered that up.
I guess because you can punt it from anywhere on the field, but that doesn't make... Yeah. Like exactly what Gene Smith says. Why would you care about returners versus punters?
They're changing the game, man.
Game Josh, take of the day. He's a bro, and then get rid of the rule.
I don't understand it. I think you're gonna lessen the game, and I think it's nothing more exciting than seeing someone run back a kick return, And now they're gonna catch it. Pretty much and they're gonna coach.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Toddy actually brings up really point. Squib kicks. You just absolutely.
Well, I would like to see different styles of kicks. That's for sure. But I reckon what the league's trying to do is bring this in, make it successful,
if this is the case, I would rather them be. I think it's a ridiculous rule that you can't kick off and catch the ball yourself.
Well,
Like you can in
ours,
most
you
other
can.
rugby sports, right? You can.
No, but they
rugby
have to
sports.
touch it. They need to touch it first, don't they? We can't.
Off the kickoff.
Oh,
No.
wait, no, wait. No, you can off kickoffs.
Correct. So I think in the NFL you should be able to as well.
But how are you going to get that scoop? How would you scoop up to make a big bomb to go up like that?
Oh, you can do that. That's not hard.
Yeah, what on a place kick?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, no one does that. We talked about this, I think, a few weeks ago. That nothing's new about the NFL. It's always the same. It's always the same halfback toss.
Off a kick,
forward,
can you do a drop
punt?
When you kick off, can you do a drop punt?
I don't know.
Never asked that question before.
They used to do drop punts or field goals.
I know, and you're allowed to do them still. I just don't.
There's also a funny rule as well for the there's another funny rule for the punting. I can't remember what it is exactly. It's like there's like a free kick. Have you heard that rule?
Here you go. Oh no, it's field goal.
There is some rule out there for a free kick.
Due to greater accuracy of place kicking, a drop kick is never used to kick field goals in one game. I've seen people do it.
Imagine that. Imagine you saw Chris Boswell drop kicking through the uprights.
Well, Dixon, like the Australian Dixon, that's the punter for the Seahawks. He can drop kick the ball like nothing else.
Yeah, right. But they wouldn't do it because the NFL won't change or anything. But you wouldn't even need a holder, would you? Straight to Chris Boswell through the uprights. Go kaboom. See you later.
I'm just trying to see.
There's quite a few rules, I think, that the kicking is there's quite a few odd things.
Okay, so the Ravens tried it apparently in 2020, 2019, and they got into trouble for it.
Oh,
they banned it. Yeah, it got banned. Justin Tucker tried it. Yeah,
a drop kick.
Yep.
What would be the like? Was it a set play?
It must have. Well, yeah, maybe they thought.
Imagine if you did.
Can we share the screen? I'll try and pull it up for everyone.
Imagine if they did like
it's a CBS article or YouTube.
Nah, that's fine. It just can't show video.
Well, it's on, but it's a video on Twitter.
I wouldn't, but see what happens. Okay. Sometimes it can end the stream.
Oh, really?
That's right. Jeddah says a free.
He kicked it off. I'm just watching it. He kicked it off. I think they were hoping he'd drop it, like what happens in rugby. Oh, wow. You know what he did, Mark? That's wild. He tosses it in the air and just lets it bounce on the floor.
Oh, your mic's gone. Your mic's gone. You kicked your mic off. And Matty is now gone. He is booted away his audio.
There you go. I'm back. But yeah, he literally like tosses the ball in the air and then lets it bounce.
Was it like a traditional rugby drop kick? You think?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't call that a traditional rugby. It's a variation on it. I don't think I've kicked a ball like that since I was 7. But like, interesting move though.
What year was that?
2019.
Oh, I just saw it too. That's the oddest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'll put it in the private chat so you can see the video that I saw.
That's the oddest thing I think I've ever seen in my life, ever. No one does that.
No, Steel's freak. We know it's legal, but it's just whether it's legal on field goals. We're contesting whether it was legal on
thing I've ever seen. I would never do that as a kicker.
I like this guy on the Twitter video I pulled up. His first comment was, "That was momentarily exciting, though."
Why would you? Okay, in the video they're throwing it up like right in the air like that. We don't do that. You just drop to your leg and kick. Any Aussie can kick that. That's funny, man.
They said it forced a fair catch, which kept the clock at 2:01 and made the Chiefs run a play before the 2-minute warning. Basically, it gave the Ravens a free timeout.
Is that because and
as someone said in the comments in this video, they were like, "That's not a drop kick. That like in a rugby drop kick, it's a very different thing. This is like I would call this a toss-up kick."
Yeah, it's like a throw the ball right up and see if I can kick it. Because
this is called a backyard, like whack.
Wait, so for that kick, right? Did that not waste any time? Is that right?
Yeah, no, because of the fair catch that was called, then it expired the clock to 2 minutes. So basically, it stopped the Chiefs getting a 2-minute. the 2-minute warning,
That is
like that
such an
bonus
odd
timeout.
play.
That's such a John Harbaugh. Like I know he's weighing halves, as we learned when we were back on the Steel Curtain Network, that term. But like that is a savvy move.
It's so odd though. Like I don't know. We need to go.
You're
over
right.
there.
No, we know that. Like, which is our question still straight was more on the actual kickoffs. Yeah.
We need to go over there and show them how it's done because we wouldn't do it that way. We wouldn't throw it in the air. It's like you just drop to your leg. Any Aussie can just drop kick. See you later, mate. That's a funny kick.
Mate.
Holy dooly. Okay, go look it up, guys. If you type in Ravens,
I've got this Twitter link. I can drop it in there. But do it after the show, please. Stay on the show.
Justin Tucker crazy drop kick week 3 is what we're looking at.
There's this one too.
I've never seen it like that. That's so funny, man. Sorry, I've never seen anyone do something like that. That's funny, hilarious.
How do we even get onto that?
I forget. No, because the kick. That's I think someone brought up the kicking rule as well.
Yeah, that's right. No, but just on the like how it's going to change the game. But like, there must be another rule that was weird because there must be another rule that was changed in the mid-2000s on this. Because I remember when I used to play O2 Madden, there was one time I punted the ball and chased it down, grabbed the ball and scored. And it let me do that. And you can't do that now.
Wait. You can't. I don't think you can recover the same punt or something. They got
that's right. Correct. Unless the other teams touch the ball, right? But I was able to do that at the time.
Well, punting-wise, if you punt, you can't recover it and score.
Correct. But I did that at the time, so there must have been some change.
There's a few other ones like that too. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, Steelers Freak. This is the thing though. Like Ravens got done on this one, so I don't know. Like,
so apparently, because you can do that, you can just drop kick it from. That would be a good kick for an Aussie to do that.
NFL kickoff rules. Let's bring this up.
Oh my goodness! You know what I just thought?
Yeah.
If you can do a drop kick, then you know how the rugby league and union do it for 10 yards.
But that's what I was saying before. Where you can kick off to yourself as long as it goes.
Imagine a specialist like that, and you get like Darnell Washington to go up and get it.
That's exactly what I was saying.
But it's never going to happen though. It never will. They're never going to bring this.
But that's what I mean. If you want to reduce the concussions, that's what you do.
Drop kick,
and it's
like we would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's going to be more high pointing the ball from like 30, 40 yards than it is like running from one bloke at the very end all the way to the scrum.
Correct.
You know? But if we did that, or say that one team does that, then the NFL freaks out and they go,
and you know the other thing the NFL does, which I've always found odd, maybe it's, because it came from a rugby background. The winner kicks the football off to a loser.
Yeah.
Not in rugby. You're kicking off back to the people that scored. And I know it's entertainment and all the rest of it, but like, and yes, there are games.
Imagine
I tell you, I've played in games where you got belted like
49-0.
50. Yeah, I've lost a game. I kid you not. We played a good school that like had all the scholarships in like, I remember losing a game when we were 13, 14 because they just had guys that were twice the size of us. I lost a game 80-0 once. It was like,
imagine if they changed that though, where if you scored, you got the ball back. How the game would be so different. If you were an offensive team that like the Chiefs or
100%, 100%.
Like that would be insane. 7-0 and you got 14-0, 21-0. Like just keep going up and up and up and up.
But the Steelers, I think the Steelers would do better in that regard, right?
We'll probably hopefully run the ball too. Run
Correct.
the ball and
Correct.
Hold
completely. But it'll never happen. That's a completely different sport almost.
I wonder where that came from the NFL. I know we're doing a deep dive history lesson here, but I wonder where that started. Where it was okay, we score, you have the ball.
TV in the 60s probably.
I don't know if that's even been a thing for forever, but in NRL, it's always like you score, you get the ball back. You're up 6-0, you're up 6-4. And then defense had to shut them down because they stuffed up the first time.
Correct.
But I guess it gives the other team a chance. If you go 7-0, then they go,
doesn't matter.
Back to back.
Get the ball back. Stop them.
But the thing is though, the NFL doesn't change their strikes.
But here's the other thing, like I'll say as well on concussions. Like I'm not advocating for the NFL to not wear helmets. I'm not doing that. because it's part of the sport. It's the look, it's the feel, it's the history. But you want to eliminate concussions, get rid of helmets. Those helmets don't help concussions. That's absolute fact. They like, especially because they're hard helmets. Like they have done studies on this of all the different types of helmets around the world, usually like the softer ones in rugby with the padding or whatever. Your neck is built in a way that the muscles deal with the vibrations if you hit the deck, right? And if you have a helmet on, it reverberates the vibrations. That's why some of these helmets have made concussions worse. That's why, like, if you look at the new ones that, like, a lot of the quarterbacks are using, like Kenny's starting to use, it has, like, more padding, and they even talked about it. It's there to distribute the shock when he hits the ground, and it's got, like, a neck pad to brace it because that's forcing the neck into doing something it shouldn't do. Like, I had 2 concussions. Both times I wore, like, the padded helmet playing footy. Like, so, I don't know. Like, if you want to reduce concussions, you technically get rid of the helmets.
Bring up Toddy's comment there too. I think that's makes a bit of sense. I think
if you can get the ball from in court, there'll be no opportunity for a fair catch. No.
Is there a rule that prohibits kicking line drives? Well, like a squib kick they call it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting because the team's going to figure it out.
Yeah, there's going to be some.
Oh, he's right too. 86 is on point. You want to try and eliminate safety, then get rid of Thursday night games. Like they do contradict themselves quite a bit.
Oh,
we know this,
man.
We know this. They're big. They're all for money, mate. They're trying to make big money. So you want to get rid of tired players.
Can Mark quickly search how many NFL games there are in a given season? 17 times 6. Is it just 17 times 16? I don't know how many.
272.
Right. 272, right? 19 players had concussions in 2022 from kickoffs. Less than 10%.
And they changed a rule for it.
19 concussions occurred across approximately 2,700 kickoffs, according to Yahoo Sports, meaning 99.3% of kickoff plays were concussion-free.
But I reckon, man, it wouldn't surprise me if they change the rule in 5 years.
And you're ruining a key part of the special teams.
Devin Hester, mate. Everyone grew up on Devin Hester. Where's those blokes? They're fun to watch. It was awesome on kickoffs. One of the best players to ever do it. So I don't know, man.
I do understand how. Yeah, like I do understand how fast they run. That's the point. Like that's science, though. When mass hits mass at speed, like.
Well, they're also getting paid like the concussion rule. They're getting the injury stuff. They're getting paid a lot of money too, so they understand what the risks are. There's risk in every job. There's risk in when I go and do Uber every day because I'm driving a car.
Yeah, they all have concussions. Yeah, exactly, Jen. Yeah, exactly. You're on the same page. Sorry, I read that the wrong way. Like, I just don't. Yeah, exactly. Like it's
the game is. You know what?
I only wore a helmet playing rugby to protect my ears because I was in the scrum. Right, I didn't want the cauliflower ears. That's the only reason I did it.
The thing is, though, the game's safer now than it ever used to be. Back in the day, where you see people coat hang on one another. It's much more safer now than ever before.
Put it this way, I know I'm onto something because Tomlin talks about watching padless football. He talked about it with Ben on the Football and podcast. He's like, yeah, that's the
thing though. They would never get rid of the helmet because it's cool and it's
that's why I don't want to get rid of the helmet. I mean, I've got one behind me. I think they're hectic,
yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you want to go down the concussion piece,
if they got rid of the helmet, it would be so odd. It wouldn't be American football.
Odd. No,
it'd be very odd.
That's exactly the point, right? Exactly the point.
Mm-hmm. Isn't Kenny getting rid of the visor this year too? I think he's got rid of the glass.
He's got a new version of the helmet I saw too. It's bulky. It's a bit weird. It looks more like a motocross helmet.
Yeah. I think as well. I think who else had the dark visor? I can't remember who had that. Someone else had that. Might have been George Pickens had the visor. So yeah, I don't know, man. I like that stat. You said it's only 10%. So, but the thing is, they bring in Thursday night games, and if you want to eliminate injuries, get rid of that game. Because you got 4 days preparation.
Every time maybe acts batshit nuts, the NFL.
He's coming back. He's trying to play. I think he's playing this week for the Empire, the indoor league. He's suiting up. He's actually playing.
He owns that team though.
Yeah, but he's playing.
I don't understand how that man has money still. Like he made money, but not like not
He
like
is the,
hundreds of millions. And
he's
like,
the biggest hype yes men crew around him ever
it's
existed.
such the emperor's new clothes. Like,
It's just, I don't know, man. I wouldn't trade his life for mine. Let's put it that way. I'm happy with
yeah,
what
it
I'm
is.
doing
It's
here.
the same. You're right, George. I know. Yeah, it's the same. It's got that bounce in the back of it. So isn't under the new schedule they're making it a lot easier because Twitter had them for a little bit.
Well, there's a few things with this, right? So now the games can be flexed to certain different streaming apps, right? And also, I think Peacock is doing a playoff game streaming only. So the NFL is going to some weird territory now where they're going to really F the customer. They definitely are. Because there are playoff games that people can't afford Peacock. People can't afford streaming, or they haven't got it.
But also, I've got the NFL Game Pass in Australia, right? We didn't get all 22 till week 10 or 11 last year. It makes it pretty hard. Like, I got the full subscription to every team because I want the all 22. I could just do the Steelers subscription and pay less. And that's what I should do.
You know what's annoying about these things though? When I pay $350 a year or $400 and it doesn't work. Mine didn't work the other day for about an hour or so.
No, I pay the same price as you do.
It just turned off. Like, I was like, why do I pay all this money for it not to work?
The app is awful on iPad.
The app's terrible. The app on the phone.
If you Chromecast though, it's worse though. That's the thing. And they don't have an app for PlayStation. They don't have an app for most smart TVs. Like,
nah.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that? About the playoff games being pretty much pay-per-view playoff games now? Because you have to pay via Peacock because they're going to own one of the playoff games. I think it's a slippery slope. I think it's going to go down to where.
In fairness, this isn't the NFL's fault. This is how American media is set up, right? Because you know how you've got the blackout games and certain people can see certain games. This would give them access in a way because if your team doesn't make the playoffs, you don't give a shit, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, so it might look money hungry, but this is only because of the way the whole system's set up to begin with, where it's so the distribution rights and are so fractured and distributed that they're kind of forced actually to doing that. This isn't on the NFL. That's not on the NFL. They're playing within the confines of what's been set up.
I think it's on like all these streaming services because how many different like apps do you have now that have movies and stuff like that? A ton, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? What if we said for this next part, if you want to come join us, you have to go to Peacock to see us live there. Nobody would come.
No. So I think Gene Smith brings up a good point. Gene, correct me in the live show if I'm wrong. You want to talk about the flex stuff from the perspective of the actual game times being flexed because you're a season ticket owner, and then they flex a game
Thursday night game.
Yeah, and it disrupts you. Like, well, I'll give you a good example of this. The one Steelers game I've been able to get to in my life, I had it playing in the afternoon against the Bills. I thought it was going to be a great matchup in 2019 because I thought the Bills were going to do well. I picked the game. Like, I decided what game I was going to in the June, right? And it was December 8th, I think the game was. And it got flexed into the evening. That disrupted a lot of my travel. Like, actually made a big disruption because we were going to fly in on the Saturday morning or the Friday night. We were going to watch the game, fly out first thing on the Monday morning. When it was Sunday night late, it meant that we didn't fly the next day until late Monday evening to where we were going to do. So, yeah, I mean, flexing it is actually really disruptive, to be honest.
And that's why they don't really care about the consumer, because imagine being if they move the Patriots game on Thursday.
Yeah, nice, Gene.
Right? What if that happens if they move the Patriots game on Thursday to Sunday and you're an international fan or you're a fan from like Miami or West Coast? You're gone. You're stuffed. So they don't care. Like, they legit don't care about that stuff. I know it's only week 14 to 17. They can change 2 games. But if they do it, they're going to mess around a lot of
fans. Look at this. We brought this up, right? And in like the space of 4 or 5 comments, we're all being asked about the flex games. Like,
yeah, they don't care, man. NFL does not care.
No, it's not a boast at all. And it's not a boast, Jim. Honestly, it's on. I'm on a waiting list for it. I'm on a waiting list purely so I can get to, once I do it, I can go to 1 or 2 games a year, guarantee my seat, and, like, have something that I know other Steelers fans, like Mark wants to go over, whoever wants to go over, can access it, and like I can make the money back on it. But I want to do it, like, myself. Like, it's you put your hard-earned money toward it. Like,
I'll tell you how I'm going to get there. I'm going to be the new Steely McBeam. I'm going to try and go for that role. So I won't need
a hectic Steely McBeam, man.
Just eating
What
burgers in
Jed
the
has said.
stands. Yeah, man. There's a lot of things going.
I took my son and his friend to the LA Rams SF game last year. The cheapest seats like 500. Now they're telling me public. Exactly, 100%, 100%. Yeah, I've seen that with the cable. Well, I know when we were back at BTSC, I know some of the guys go to each other's houses for the games. Like, but you tell me, like, I have to, like, you and I, Mark, have to pay. It was $300 last year for the game pass.
Yeah, something like that.
$300 Aussie, right, for the year. One sport, like, yeah, it's a joke.
I don't even watch. I don't even watch it like I don't watch it now. I don't watch it in the season. But
I watched some of it in the season, but I've watched a lot less, to be honest. Like,
yeah, if I feel like I put a game on, but I tried doing it the other day and it stuffed up twice.
The thing that I also got it for, like, not just the Steelers games. I paid the full package to get the Football Life documentaries and this thing and that thing.
Oh yeah,
they don't even do them anymore, man.
No,
like, there's none of the extra content. Like,
they're in there, but it's like you said, the app is so bad and the mobile.
No, but they haven't done new ones. I didn't remember seeing a Football Life last year. I think there were
it's all the old stuff. It's the older ones.
Yeah, well, why are they continuing that series?
Yeah, well, that's what's so frustrating because when I went on to,
they make more money than ever, and they provide less content, and we pay more than ever for it. Like,
yeah, well, I had a bit of a spur moment, like I'm going to watch it today, and I felt some time, and and then next minute it didn't work, and I was like, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? I was like, I give up. Like I tried 2 or 3 times and it didn't work, so I just walked away. That's the most annoying point, when you pay for a service and it doesn't work.
It's nuts. I mean, no one says exactly. The people have to stand up to it. Like,
put them in the Bud Light submission hold.
Gene Smith, we lose money when you don't get. Yeah, that makes sense. It's pretty wild. Well, anything else you want to cover off, Mark, before we wrap up the?
No, I think we ripped into the NFL enough. It shows you that the game's changing and things are moving on with different streaming platforms, that kind of stuff. There's the real game on the field's changing. Different eras. We're getting older. I guess watching the game too. And the
answer the title very much.
What? Oh my goodness!
The title.
Yes. Talk about that next week. But no,
I'll just repeat it.
It's interesting though. I think where the game's going, but it is all for coin at the end of the day. It's just
so Steel's free. You can, right? But when you don't renew the subscription, you have to pay a higher amount. So Mark and I get a price that's held with a minor amount of inflation. If you stop subscribing, they get you by making it more expensive when you come back. So, but yeah, I mean, I have a VPN anyway, because my problem is I can't watch college. I can only watch select college football games that are streamed through our sports cable network, and they don't have everything. So I struggle because I only get to watch maybe 40% to 60% of the Longhorns games per year, and other colleges that I want to watch for like scouting purposes for our shows. So it's like, yeah, it's not good. Eric Askew, these shady websites with questionable pop-ups.
I used to for football. There was one I had out there, was like a bunch of letters that used to work all the time, but now I don't use it.
Oh, good call, Gene. Friday night movie for tonight. What's everyone watching on Friday night?
Friday night movie. I reckon I watched this the other day. Groundhog Day. Go watch that. It's a good movie.
So I don't like it.
Really?
I don't hate it. I just like, it irks me.
What? It irks you? Why?
It just like, I don't know. It just
the same scenes over and over again.
Yeah, the 5th or 6th time, I'm like, oh my god, man.
The song gets you. The song.
Stop, man. Like the 5th or 6th time.
Is it Bill Murray just having no personality?
I like Bill Murray. I'm just like, yeah.
I think he's good. I think he's good in that movie. I don't know. I really enjoy. I watched it again for the first time in a long time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Pakistani.
Who?
Pakistani Phil.
Your hike is still better than the pack. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we're gonna wrap up.
I think it was a great show.
We covered a lot. We covered players. We covered connections between the players. We covered all their comments of the week. Covered kickoffs. Everything.
Covered kickoffs completely. I think that was a real good part, good segment. Because I don't know what's going to happen. I think we're going to see less returns.
Yeah.
Gene's going Point Break back in the,
Oh, yeah.
Keanu Reeves. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Jeez. That's interesting.
Nice. All right, mate. Well, I wish everyone
thanks, guys.
here watching now, no matter when they're watching, whether they're watching live or watching later on, have a fantastic weekend, and we will be back with Mad Monday next week. I've actually also just teasing, I've done the film and I've done some screenshots. I've done some film review of Spencer Anderson, the 7th round O-lineman. So that'll come out in the next week. Trying to get Corey Trice done as well. And if you missed the Kenny Pickett video, have it. I love that I put out a few days before everyone got on the Kenny hype train. I talked about why Kenny Pickett's underrated. So there's some cool stats in that. If you missed it, probably worth checking that one out. As always, Marky D.
Go Steelers. Here we go.